So hello everybody, it's a great pleasure to see you here. I'd like to welcome our two distinguished guests. That's Osama Iliwat and Rotem Levin. But before I tell you all about them, I'd like to thank as well the very important people who have kindly hosted this meeting. So thank you to the Provost's Office, to the Islamic Society, to Student Affairs, and DI3 for hosting what I hope will be a very important and vital even conversation. I'm Sarah Baxter. I'm director of the Marie Colvin Center for International Reporting here at Stony Brook. Now, Marie Colvin was my friend and colleague and a great journalist born on Long Island who was killed in Syria in 2012. I know that Marie would approve a great deal about this initiative. She'd be thrilled that this dialogue is taking place here. Now, the Colvin Center is also part of the School of Communication and Journalism. And our school is a major hub for solutions journalism in the United States. And I really think that this conversation is also part of trying to find solutions to long-standing issues, and as such aligns really well with the mission of the school. So now to our guests. They're going to tell us a lot about themselves, so I don't want to anticipate what they're going to say, but I'd like to give a brief introduction anyway. So Osama Iliwat is a Palestinian born in East Jerusalem, whose family was displaced, leading him to grow up in Jericho on the West Bank. Now, Rotem Levin grew up near Tel Aviv, and like so many young Israelis, he served in the military. Despite their very different upbringings, Osama and Rotem became friends and partners for peace. We are honored to have them here to share their journey of hope and reconciliation with us. So thank you, Rotem and Osama. Over to you. The meeting, by the way, is being filmed, and there'll be time for questions afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be here and speak to you. I just want to say that we do it since 1 year. We started in the 16th of October, and we do it everywhere, mostly Germany and here, almost every day. And we really believe on this, in the fact that there is another way to the violence, to the oppression, and that we can fight for each other. And we will share our stories. It's our personal stories. I'm not here to represent sides or to show you how a dialogue should look like. We will show you how transformation looks like, what made this possible, and how the realities of the land look like through the story. I want to invite you to stay open, to open your minds, to open your hearts. You can leave aside your perspective and your politics for like 1 hour. It will wait there. You can take it back home in 1 hour. But to invite you to be open, to listen to us, try to put yourself in our shoes. Not because we are trying to convince you that someone is right and someone is wrong, because we are trying to show you a different way. I hope that it will be insightful and we can get out from here more united and a bit more hope and understanding about how much horrific is the situation right now. And if you have questions, you're very welcome to ask us anything, and we will do our best to answer. Thank you.
that goes ago. So it's not still not a thing to call the where the left.
Thank you, Rotem. Thank you for having us again, for organizing this event. It's heavy, tough days that I don't know if I have enough words to describe it, but it gives me hope to see people care about what's going on. And I just want to say that I'm not here to say peace and to talk about peace. I'm here to talk about truth, about what's going on, and about justice. Because we always talk about peace, 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 peace. Peace is the second step after freedom and justice. We need to understand that we can't reach peace without talking about what's going on and telling the truth as it is. That's the most peaceful struggle we can do, is tell people what's going on in the land and what should be changed over there, and criticize our systems and talk about the occupation and call it occupation without finding words of love and peace and forgetting the people who are dying every day without justice. So we're going to talk about our personal stories, which is our journey and our transformation, just to show you how we live on the land on both sides, and then how we met again and discuss with you what we can do together. Because now we are not here to teach you, we are here to tell you that we need you. And we can't fight by ourselves if you don't join us. What's going on there, it's going on a new name too. Yeah. Thank you.
So, I was born in a small village not far from Tel Aviv, and I didn't know Palestinians. As a child, as a teenager, there were no Palestinians around me. Maybe first time I heard about Palestinians, I was 10 years old. It was 2000, second Intifada, and I hear about suicide attacks every week, again and again and again. Buses are being exploded, and I don't understand what is happening. I'm terrified. And because they don't teach us Arabic in the Israeli school system, I couldn't understand the word in Arabic. And many times when I took the bus from place to place, if someone spoke Arabic next to me, I was scared because who knows what might happen. And I used to leave the bus before the destination just to make sure that I'm safe. And I think I started to understand what it means to be an Israeli through the annual ceremonies we hold every year. So, during first the Holocaust Memorial Day and then the National Memorial Day. And we invite the soldiers to participate in these ceremonies all around the country. And I remember as a child, I used to see soldiers entering my school. They wore full uniform, long weapons, and always the teachers used to welcome them with so much love and respect and appreciation. And it was like a ritual. Every year, again and again, I see soldiers and the teachers giving them so much respect and love. But at some point, I started to internalize the idea that when I be 18 years old, I would be a soldier, basically like anyone else. All my family were soldiers at some point of their lives, all my village, all my teachers. So for me, the army, for us, the Israelis, the army is like your college. It's like normal, completely normalized. This is the next stage in life. Everyone does it. And then, as a teenager, my mom started to take me to her own ceremony because her cousin was killed as a soldier. And similar scenario, we go this time to the graveyard, and soldiers from his specific unit joining us to the ceremony. And they enter the graveyard, and this time my mom is the one who is welcoming them with so much love and respect and appreciation. And same ritual again and again and again, every year. And I was told, Itamar, a cousin, was killed, and he was killed in 75 while his team was trying to rescue all Israeli hostages from a hotel in Tel Aviv. And I was told always as a child, as a teenager, that he was our hero. He was killed while protecting us, so we would be safe in our homeland. And I remember at some point during my teenagehood, I started to have this inner motivation. I want to be a hero, very determined. I want to go and protect my people. I want to go and be part of this collective effort to be sure that my family, my people are safe. At the age of 17, I traveled to Poland, and it was the school, like most of the Jewish students, to see the death camps, to learn about the Holocaust, a very intense experience for a teenager. And I remember there were Israeli flags all over Auschwitz, and the idea was that the only way to solve European anti-Semitism is by Jewish nationality. And if we will not go, and then this is one. Second, that we cannot trust anyone to protect us. We have to do it ourselves. And if we will not go the next year to serve in the Israeli army, my generation, who knows what might happen? Maybe even history might repeat itself. So I came back from Poland very motivated. This time it's my turn, I'm going to protect my people, I'm going to be part of this collective effort. And at the age of 18, I was recruited to the same unit as Itamar, the cousin of my mom, was killed after a lot of effort. And I remember everyone around me was so supportive, right? All my family, my teachers, my friends. And I felt so good about it. I felt, wow, I received so much love, so much respect, so much appreciation. Seems like I'm doing the right thing. I didn't have second thoughts. I didn't feel like, wait, the army is more. And I was told always, as an Israeli, we have the most moral army, right? This is what, I don't know if you know this, but this is what they tell us since a very young age. You trust the army because the army is trusted. The army is above politics in Israel. Even if you call yourself left, wing, right, and whatever you call yourself, you don't challenge the narrative of the army. And I also started to understand that because society in Israel is so militarized, everyone goes to the army. Later in life, it would be easier for me if I would serve in the best units in the Israeli army. Later, it would be easier for me to find the best jobs, maybe to be accepted to university. I'll give one example. So I studied medicine in Ben Gurion University. The first question at the interview was, where did you serve in the military? And of course, if I say I refuse to serve, it will not be the right answer. And then after 2 years of very intense army training in this unit, my team was taken to a Palestinian village in the West Bank. I was 20 years old, and it was actually the first time I go to the West Bank, because my father always used to say, you shouldn't go there, it's dangerous, there's occupation, settlers, and if the Palestinians will know that you're an Israeli, they might hurt you. So don't go there. And in the middle of the night, we entered this village, a group of 15 full-armed soldiers. We crossed the village by foot. When we reached the center of the village, the commander came to me and to another guy and told us to throw the shock grenades to this yard. And I remember I was so focused on following the order, on being the best soldier I can. I didn't think twice. I threw the grenade. It was a big boom. Then silence again. Everyone probably terrified inside the house. And on the way back to the base, suddenly the other soldier, his name was Mero, came to me and told me, you know what, I think we shouldn't do such things. And I remember it caught me unprepared. I wasn't expecting it, but I felt, wow, actually, yeah, there was no one immediate danger. I hadn't seen a human being. What are we doing here, actually? And I was there confused with myself, and suddenly the commander came, he heard us talking about it, and he said, guys, you're soldiers, you do what you're told to do. And he said, the end of the conversation, I don't want to hear about it anymore. And because it was one of the best units, and we made a huge effort to be accepted to this unit, so we closed our mouth and we didn't speak about it. But somehow this night stayed at the back of my head, and maybe it was the first crack in my perspective or understanding, or maybe I would say the first time I felt I'm not alone with what I was doing. And then later I was released from the Israeli army after 3 years of military service. And luckily I didn't come to fight or to shoot anyone, and I wasn't traumatized. But I was, again, very much programmed and to be the best soldier, to follow orders the best way I can, not to ask questions. And something here inside didn't feel good. I felt disconnected. And I wanted to start to ask questions. I wanted somehow to let go of this mindset of a soldier. It felt as if I became some kind of a robot. And like many other Israelis, because we have privileged passports, compared to the Palestinians, we can travel quite freely. The globe, I took my passport, I left the country for a year, started to self-reflect about things, and I came after a year to start medical school, and just before entering university, I met a friend who told me he is going to Germany to meet Palestinians from the West Bank. Some kind of dialogue program. And I remember I was so excited because, like, wow, I've never imagined myself meeting these people. I was always told, you shouldn't go there, you shouldn't cross the wall, it's dangerous. But actually, the only time I've been there, a year earlier, 2 years earlier, I was the one who was violent. So yeah, I had many questions in my mind. What's the issue? Why do you hate us so much? And in Germany, it was 12 years ago, I met a group of 20 Palestinians. Most of them were born and raised in refugee camps all over the West Bank. Wait, what do you mean refugee camps? I've never heard about refugee camps. So they explained to me, yeah, we were born in refugee camps, but our grandparents are originally from where you are, from inside Israel. They used to call it from 48. And during the establishment of the State of Israel, it was our Nakba.
What?
What do you mean Nakba? Because the first time I hear this word.
Yeah.
So they told me Nakba, it means catastrophe in Arabic, and this is the term we Palestinians use to describe what happened to us in 1948 when the Jewish state was established. And they said that over 400 villages were destroyed completely, and over 2/3 of the Palestinian population were expelled from their homes to refugee camps in Gaza, all around the West Bank, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, later all over the globe. And many Jewish refugees came first from Europe and later from the Arabic countries and took over the homes that were not destroyed in Jaffa, in Haifa, in Jerusalem, in Ankara, and other places.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was too much for me because the gap between the narratives was too big. Something didn't make sense. How come I live on this land all my life, 23 years, and I've never heard the word Nakba? I've never heard the word camps. So it felt like impossible, but at the same time we sat there in Germany for 10 days, sharing from morning to evening our stories, our fears, our pain, our trauma. And I connected to these people on a very human level. I was seeing them crying for hours, and they became my new friend. And we started to care for that. And when you start to care for someone, you cannot go to the indifference, and you cannot say, I stopped caring for you. And I realized, okay, they are not making it up. There is something here. Many of them even brought the keys to the houses that were taken. So I really like, okay, I'm very ignorant about the story of these people or my neighbors, but I don't know them. So I decided to start and read about the Nakba. And very early I realized that there is a law in Israel that prohibits schools from teaching or even mentioning this word. And if you're a teacher in the Israeli school system, you will insist to teach and teach your students about Nakba, you will lose your job. We have several examples of teachers. And later I realized in theaters in Israel, they are not allowed to mention the word Nakba on stage, because then the theater will lose all the funds from the government. And we have many other practices that Israel uses to basically erase the Palestinian narrative, that it will not be exist on the land. Why? It makes sense, right? It's much easier for us, the Israelis, to justify our violence as self-defense when there is no context to the violence of the other side. If Israelis will know that 70-80% of Gaza are actually refugees from 48, so the only people to dehumanize them and to say that they are animals. And yeah, it was very emotional. Like it was a dramatic realization for me there in Germany. And I started to self-reflect about my life in my homeland and how I used to celebrate my independence. Every year we have festivals, like barbecue, firework, music. The whole country is ecstatic. And suddenly my Palestinian friends are telling me, you know, we live next to you, we see the fireworks, we hear the music. But for us, we feel as if you celebrate our catastrophe, our ethnicism. And yeah, it was very painful. And then I came back from Germany to the land, and I was trying to talk to my friends, my family about it. It was very challenging. And none of us had the emotional capacity to hold space for each other. And they were very intimidated by the narrative that I brought by Nakba, and became very defensive. And I felt that the more they open conversation about this topic, no one is there. And it felt lonely, and now I can tell you it's not unique. This rejection, every Israeli person will decide to educate himself about the narrative of the others and then stick up for justice, will meet same different levels of rejection, depends on the community, how conservative it is, but even no chance to escape rejection. And yeah, and then I decided I was lucky actually, because I managed to get to know activists, Israelis and Palestinians, who understand that the only way forward now is to recognize that there are two people in this land, and to acknowledge what is happening on this land since 100 years, and to take a different direction from the ones who are keep using as if it will create a different result. And to acknowledge the catastrophes, because we cannot go into reconciliation. First, the ethnic cleansing is still happening. This is the most intense time of ethnic cleansing in Palestine ever. The Nakba is nothing compared to what is happening now. So this has to stop as fast as possible, because it's catastrophic to the future of this place. What might happen, it's very important that we stop the violence as fast as possible. And second, we have to acknowledge what we are doing to the Palestinians if we want reconciliation. Like, I wouldn't accept reconciliation with the Germans if they will not accept the Holocaust. But we are still in this time well, it's not allowed to speak about the Holocaust, so whatever. I'm not comparing, I'm just saying, if we are interested in reconciliation, this is the way forward. We have to take responsibility and to acknowledge what is happening. And this is very difficult to my society in these days, very, very difficult to get out of the victimhood. Because of history, because that we are also victims, right? There is violence, people are losing their lives. 7th of October was a horrific day for Israelis. People were so traumatized by this, and we need external help. We need external help for sure. And yeah, then I decided to move to the West Bank to live with my Palestinian friends. I don't know if you know, but in the entrance to every city, town, village in Palestinian in the West Bank, not the settlers, you have red signs. And on the red sign, it says, if you're a Jewish Israeli, it's very dangerous for you to go into this place, and we, the army, cannot guarantee your safety. And I'm intentionally going to live with my Palestinian friends because I trust them, and I want to show my people, hey, this film during this narrative that they will kill us if they just could, it's here. It's here, and I believe that if I will go and recognize their reality and their suffering, they will recognize me. And this is what happened on a small scale. So I moved to this village, and I started to have more and more Palestinian friends, and to build trust and solidarity with them. And after 6 months, I could speak and understand Arabic. And suddenly, I can take the bus from place to place. The bus is full of Palestinians. I hear only Arabic, and I'm not terrified as I was as a child, because I understand no one is going to attack me. I can stay on the bus until the destination. They are just stopping about falafel or something. And then more time in the village, and suddenly my perspective changes. So I used to see them, I was raised to see them as potential threats because they are dangerous. And after more time, I started to see them as potential friends and potential colleagues and even lovers. And I noticed like my nervous system is much more relaxed. I used to, first time I entered Ronaldo, I was nervous, I was like stressed, and suddenly, no, I feel connected, I feel somehow part. I don't feel like a foreign body. And then I look at the wall from the other side. The wall, I used to call it the security wall. It's there to protect us from the Palestinians who come to attack us. And suddenly my Palestinian friends are telling me, no, they built the wall very close to our homes, not on the green line, so they can confiscate all our olive trees, and we lost our ancestral income. This is how our ancestors used to live for hundreds of years. And then in the weekend, I want to take my car to go to the beach in Tel Aviv, because I'm Jewish, I can move freely and can cross the checkpoint. No one will ask me anything. And in 1 hour, I will be at the beach. But my Palestinian friends cannot go to the beach. The whole generation, like people 30, 35 years old, they live 1 hour from the beach, they've never seen the beach. Imagine. And I'm Jewish, I can see it every day if I want me, but no matter where I live, even if I'm set here in the West Bank, right? And then I want to take them with me because this is like very noble, right? You want your friend to see the beach. So I sneak them in the car. And after like 10 times, we were caught by the soldiers. And we were taken to a police station in one of the biggest settlements. And in the police station, I think it describes perfectly the whole situation and how the system works. So I was left outside of the station under the stars with my phone, with my cigarettes. When they need me, they ask me to enter the office, few questions, and I go back to the stars. My Palestinian friend was interrogated all night in a small dark room, no cell phone, no cigarettes. And when he Went out 6 a.m. in the morning. He was told to walk to his village. I am not allowed to give him a ride. So 15 kilometers by foot is in the middle of the settlement. If you just try to do this, it's like very dangerous. So we had to walk 15 kilometers to his home. I was told, from here you go back to your hometown, you're not allowed to enter the West Bank for a month, and you're not allowed to drive your car at the West Bank, and you have to fine kids. Sorry, $2,000 for them. But the fact that I was treated like a human being because I'm Jewish, and he was treated like nothing because he's a Palestinian. And this is systematic. It's not like one night, and this is how the system works, and this has to be changed. If we want to live in peace, if we want to really have peace, this is the most immediate change. We cannot have peace with supremacy.
Right.
Thank you.
Please. That's the point. Test.
So I live on the other side. First of all, I want to say that I never spoke as a victim. I hate being victim, so I'm here to represent myself first and my people, not as a victim, but as a brave Palestinian. So my story is a little bit different. Since I was kid, Nakba was the stories of my childhood. My grandmother was expelled from her village. She used to share with us about her village and how big the olive trees were, and the olive harvest, and the festival in the middle of the village where horses are dancing and people are around them celebrating this festival. And she used to say, sadly, in the end, that when the Jews came, they attacked us and we had to leave the village. They told us, you have to leave the house and you will come back. And since then, we are not back. And our house is still there. A few years after, I started to hear different stories about the rest of my family. All of them, after 67 war, went to Jordan, and none of them was allowed to come back. Israel opened the border to Palestinians to flee, to run away, and then they closed it so no one can come back. My grandfather was the only one who succeeded to sneak back by the borders with his kids to Jericho and to Jerusalem. When I was 8 years old, my father was working outside Jerusalem for 3 years, and part of the transfer that's still happening is from 48 for Jerusalemite people. Jerusalemite people are not citizens of Israel, but Israel give us like residency. Okay. So if you live in East Jerusalem and you decided to move outside Jerusalem for a few years as an Arab, Israel can cancel your right to go back and live in Jerusalem when they want. So my father moved out and we lost our rights, so we couldn't live in Jerusalem anymore. We moved to Jericho, which is like 30 minutes away. It wasn't a big deal for me until I started to go to school. That was the end of the 80s. When I started to go to school, I started to see full armed soldiers in front of my school. And all what I knew about these soldiers, they are Jews. For me, they don't speak my language, they don't look like me, they don't talk to my culture. For me, it's like Western people controlling my life. And I was always terrified with them. I was always trying to go from the backyard and avoid them. Every other day, if any student choose to throw stone or empty bottle or anything toward the soldiers, they target the school immediately by tear gas. Every day, as a child, I used to run from the backyard between the fields with my friends, crying, terrified, turning onions because they told us it could help you against the tear gas. Going back home, hiding in home. Few months after, we heard that the army commander decided to close all the schools of Jericho because we Palestinians live under military rules. So army can decide for us everything, to close our school, to close our city, to close our house, to close our mouths. But things didn't end when they closed the school. Every night, soldiers used to walk after sunset. We always have curfew. Every night, soldiers used to walk in the streets, showing off with their weapons, with their radios, to speaking. And if any youth show up from the fields and throw stones at them, they start to run after them and shoot at them and arrest them and entering to houses one by one to search people. I was always sleeping with fears and tears, and we are not allowed to leave our bed because turning the light on means you could call the soldiers in. Once the soldiers came in and they took my father in a very violent way, and I felt like the Jewish people somehow break the security of my life. The strongest person that I used to feel safe on the surround, he was attacked, he was abused. And I was so angry, but I didn't know what to do. I was 13 years old. I decided with my friends to do something cheap. So we started to collect money and we bought spray color. We jumped off of the houses after midnight, after our parents go to sleep, because they won't love the idea that we are going out to do something. And I rode outside Free Palestine for the first time, and I was so happy to see this word. Even though I wasn't really sure what is Palestine and where is Palestine and the borders of Palestine, but for me this fight was against this full-armed soldier who's making my life not possible, who was scaring my sisters, my teachers, my father, everyone. And for me, he was the only way or the only face that represents Judaism. Few weeks after, we decided to do something bigger, so we decided to build a Palestinian flag, or to make a Palestinian flag, because it wasn't exist. We started to collect shirts and cut it and sew it and try and make a Palestinian flag. We were not sure if we should put the black color on the top or on the bottom, because we haven't seen it. But we made it according to our hearts, and I climbed one of the big trees and I hung it there for a few days. It was amazing to see the flag playing with the wind over there. It just represents my identity. Even though it was a lot of people complained it's upside down and you should put the black on the top. But it gave me a good feeling, and it was good enough to arrest all of us afterward. So 3 weeks after, 3 of us get arrested. And if you're Palestinian and you get arrested by the Israelis, depends where you live. If you live inside Israel or live in East Jerusalem, or if you live in West Bank, because we Palestinians receive rights, not according to our humanity, according to our geographic places. But if you are Jewish, wherever you live, you have full rights. Even illegal settler, according to the international law, even illegal settler, according to the Israeli law, you're still full citizen and you have full rights. Wow. So we have 2 options. The first option is to be administrative detention. What is administrative detention? Administrative detention means that the army commander can enter to any Palestinian house, kidnap anyone, man or woman, take them to jail from 1 day up to 3 years without trial. Just because they think you could be dangerous in the future. They could keep you in jail. And if we are very lucky, and you will go to court, we Palestinians gonna go to something called military court. And this military court means the army commander is the judge. And if you want to educate yourself a little bit about this law, there is a movie, documentary, Israeli documentary about it. It's called The Laws in These Parts in English. Yeah. After I went out of jail, I went out with a lot of hate and violence. I lost my childhood there and became someone else. I was like playing with this, but now I became tough and violent, and I learned a lot about my identity and about what the Jewish people have done to us, and how many massacres they committed, and how many villages they destroyed, and how many people they raped and they buried alive. And after a few months, the international community recognized them as a state. And I came out with a lot of anger and hate, and I started to throw stones and Molotov cocktails and do everything I can, because now I'm fighting for Palestine, not against the soldier, for identity, for ideology. Then we're starting to hear about the peace agreement between Israelis and Palestinians. It's called Oslo. They said they're going to give us part of our land and we're going to live in peace. For me, I didn't care how much they're going to live or give us from the land. I just wanted to feel peace in my life. I wanted to be able to leave my house after sunset, to go to playgrounds, to go to dance, to go to streets, because everything was so like our life is not life. And I decided to join the Palestinian Authority and be part of the Palestinian Authority for a few years to protect the peace agreement. Because we all loved it. I saw thousands of Palestinians dancing in the streets, celebrating the peace. Few years after being in the Palestinian Authority, I started to feel this peace is not really functioning the way we expected from it to function. And I felt like since we signed for peace, they are confiscating lands from our piece by piece, every day. And the number of the settlers is rising every day, and they told us they're gonna take them out because they're gonna give us 20% of the whole map, which is our country, gonna be our Palestinian country. I felt very disappointed from this whole peace thing, and I left and I joined the resistance again until 2007. We stopped because Palestinian Authority wanted to go back to negotiate, and I didn't know what to do with this situation. And it's negotiate for what? We are negotiating and negotiating and negotiating, and you can't negotiate with someone who says what mine is mine and what yours is negotiable. And that's exactly what was happening and still happening and gonna keep happening if we keep doing the same way.
Like that.
Yeah, and I stopped fighting and I was looking for different way to fight again. 2010, I ended up in Bethlehem. It was snowing. It's a Palestinian city, and I asked one of my friends to give me a ride. He said, I'm going back to Jericho, but first I'm going to peace conference. I said, what do you mean by peace conference? He said, like, group of peace activists. I was so excited, and I said, show me how these activists look like. Take me to them. I went to that place, and I went to the room, running into the room to see how these activists look like, and suddenly I saw someone sitting with yarmulke on his head. And I stepped back and I said, wait, Ahmed, this is not our room.
I thought good.
He said, it is our room. I said, what do you mean? You told me peace. He said, yeah. I said, there are Jews here, man. How come there is peace? And he told me that there are some Jewish people who believe in peace. And they want peace, and I was surprised, and I was shocked, and I was angry to hear this from my friend. What do you mean by peace? They never wanted peace. They took land. Since we signed for this peace agreements, they're building more settlements, and they're creating more facts. And you know what? They even killed their own prime minister who signed a peace agreement because they don't want peace. And I went out angry, mad at him. And I was waiting outside. Suddenly I heard a Jewish woman standing saying, I'm Jewish, I'm Israeli. I believe we have the right to protect our lives and to live here on the land. But I can't understand how we doing this with iron fist. I can't understand how we discriminate other people according to their faith. How we keep them under military course and less rights than everyone. That's what happened to us during history as Jews. How we are doing this to other people. And if we agree with her or not, for me, that was, how come? How come there are Jewish people who recognize my pain? How come they exist? Israel showed me the soldiers, the power, the jails, everything, but they never showed me any empathy, or they never created any circle to me, to meet the Jewish people as human beings, without arms, without uniforms. And I was excited to go back and meet these people again and to find if there are more of these people or she's only one. I went back and I find, after 3 months, another group of Israeli soldiers who refused to serve in the occupied territories, and they said, it says not in our name. We did not survive history to go and occupy other people. We are here to recognize your pain and your catastrophe and your story and your narrative and to fight with you. Not for your freedom only, for our freedom too, because we can't be free as long as we are occupied and living under occupation. And these people, I think, showed me what Israel is trying to prevent Palestinians and Israelis to see in each other, the human being, to recognize the pain and the catastrophes of each other. And since then, I started to learn more and more about these people, and since then, I did not stop fighting with my friends, with my partners on the Israeli side for our freedom. And I created a group called Visit Palestine to bring Israelis to our cities, to show them what it means to live under occupation. To show them that I am not fighting because they teach me in schools that I have to hate Jews and kill them everywhere. Come to our cities. We wake up every day in the morning, go to schools, we go to succeed, we go to our farms, to our olive trees, to our work. No one is busy to kill who. But if you put a settler next to me and give them all the rights because they are Jews and take the rights from me and my son and my father and my grandmother, even the water is different. I live in the oldest city in the world where we are surrounded by 5 water springs. By history, it was the first city in the world because of the water around it. It's oasis, and we are thirsty.
Sorry.
Yep, we don't have water to drink, we don't have water to take showers in summer because settlers have big fields and they want a lot of water, and this is not fair. But this system should change because it's not saving anyone. And to break the system, we have to do something against the system. This system wants us to be separated, which means to be united. This system wants us to be enemies. We need to find a way to be friends and not enemies. The system wanted us to fight each other and kill each other to keep the occupation. We decided to fight together during the occupation, and this is the only way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Osama and Rotem, for sharing your stories with us. I think that was very illuminating. And I'm going to throw this meeting open to questions now. Would anybody like to start by asking something? Do put your hands up and I will try to accommodate you. I want to kick off, though, with a quick question of my own. Maybe not a quick question, maybe a tricky one, but I hope one that you will be able to answer briefly and give other people a chance to weigh in. There's so much current trauma and intergenerational trauma that Israelis and Palestinians both experience. What gives you your sense of hope?
Yeah.
So for me, hope is first action. When I do something, when I create something that wasn't exist before, when I fight together, when I build relationships, when I challenge this system, I feel hope because I know that we are one step closer to the collective liberation. And yeah, like since somehow October I'm very depressed, but at the same time hopeful. I see people all over the world waking up and finding courage to speak for justice, to speak for each other, to see the humanity beyond the system, because again there are human beings on both sides. We are both being pushed to these roles of perpetrator and victim. And I think we need support here. We need your help. We need to build a big coalition to challenge this narrative, to challenge this system, and it will not be solved only by Israelis and Palestinians. Unfortunately, big countries like yours support this system, send us weapons so we can continue killing each other. Supporting one side unconditionally is not going to protect anyone. It's a very bad strategy. For us, the Israelis, when we know that the US is in our back, we say, okay, who cares, right? They will put veto on every UN resolution that is against us, because we are the chosen child, and we can keep fighting and eliminating Hamas and whatever. This is going to an Armageddon scenario, so we get there very fast, and we don't have time. So we need your help to stop this horrific strategy that your government chose, and to change the direction of this place, because again, it will not happen just by Palestinians and Israelis. People are so traumatized in the land. People feel that they are fighting for their existence now, that it's about existence, like they will be eliminated. And it's very difficult to speak to people when they are in such a stress mode. And we need, instead of weapons, maybe therapists or things that are actually beneficial and helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. A question from the audience.
Can I answer?
Oh, yes, please do, yes.
Yeah. I just want to say, every day I wake up in the morning, I convince myself that I can't give up hope. because I even don't have the privilege to give up this hope. I'm exhausted emotionally, but I carry myself every day because I don't feel anyone would carry my wound if I don't carry it with my friends. I don't show it and I don't talk about it. And I keep seeing hope in people's eyes. I keep seeing hope in the nations. I keep believing in the power of the people over the people in the power, and that will give them a miracle. Thank you.
Thank you. Gentleman over there.
Would you like me to come up to ask or other?
I think there are microphones.
Yes. So I don't want to overinflate the importance of college movements based on college campuses, but I think it's fair to say that protests at universities and colleges were an important resource for exerting political pressure during the Vietnam War. They were an important resource for ending apartheid in South Africa. I wonder, when you see things happening on college campuses, what hardens you and what do you despair of? What do you hope for? You know, what is it that you see happening on college campuses that you find helpful, that inspires you, or that you think should be happening in the name of resolutions, peace, other good things?
Thank you.
For me to see, actually, first I want to thank the students who are doing this. As a Palestinian, I want to thank them for being brave enough and get off their comfortable sofas and take risks to make changes. Because you can't make change when you're sitting in your comfortable sofa and not taking any risks to move anything around. That's how change happened. And I want to tell them that you are the only democratic thing I see in this country. So really thank you for raising your voice and your choice, not for Palestinians, for humanity. Because that's what they teach us every day, and in the end, when we practice what they teach us, if it doesn't fit them, they attack us. And attacking us is the closest level to win and succeed in our mission. As can be said, first they're gonna laugh at you, first they're gonna ignore you, then they're gonna laugh at you, then they're gonna attack you, then you win. So I really want to thank the students in the campus for standing up for humanity and showing the world that there are human beings that still exist, fighting for humanity and not political agendas. And I want also the students to understand there is a lot of ways to fight. A lot of ways to fight, not just being in campus. Because going to campus carrying with you McDonald's and Starbucks and Coca-Cola, this is not a fight. You are missing the point. There is a lot of ways to fight, non-violent ways to fight, and we need to include all of it. You can't stand in campus for Palestine and support projects that send women to kill kids in Palestine. Thank you.
Rotem, have you got something to add?
Yes.
And just that, I think sometimes we can be not just right, but rather so smart when we fight. And I feel this is something that is being missed a little bit. And if are we interested in like transformation also, or are we interested in being on the right side only and saying we are the right ones, we are the right ones? Right, we are the right ones, this is justice, and I think if we are really interested in healthy transformation of the system and saving human lives, we should find ways to be more inclusive, find ways to allow people who are not on the same page with us to come and be in touch, to engage, to see that we are not anti-Semites and all these stories. Because once you tell every Zionist you are not allowed to enter the space because you are Zionist, they will go back to Zionism to fight because everyone is anti-Semite and you don't want us in your spaces. And if I wouldn't have my Palestinian friends during this journey that I was just describing, I would probably, if every Palestinian man or person will tell me, sorry, don't talk to Israelis, what will be my reaction? I will go back to my tribalism. So I think now we should challenge ourselves. I don't ask it from people in Gaza, of course, but I think people here in the West who are privileged, who have comfortable of safety, can challenge themselves, not because because this is the way to save the lives, actually. We need to de-escalate, and we need to bring people who don't agree with us to the same space so we can affect each other and the relationship will change and transform us. And yeah, I just want to invite all of us to challenge ourselves a bit more because it's for humanity.
Thank you. Next question.
I want to thank you both for being here. I really appreciate this and for the university for Mr. Miss. I'm an undergraduate. I'm a Jew. And I want to say I appreciate and resonate with what you said about standing up for humanity. Sometimes, though, it doesn't feel that way. Outside right now, near one of our buildings, there's a sign that says, in loving memory of Yahya Sinwar. And I don't want to say that this represents the movement in no way, but it does represent some people. And sometimes it feels like there is anti-Semitism. And so this is different than when we talk about Israel and Palestine. This is America. This is New York. There's no act of violence. And so to me, this feels, maybe the right word is uncomfortable, which is different than unsafe. But regardless, stagnant, how do you say that we should come together and discuss this as students, as people, as Americans? Make it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, there is a very important key to understand in this conflict, especially for the Jewish people, the Jewish students. First, the Jewish students who joined the campus and who are fighting, they showed the world the difference between Judaism and Zionism, and that's really something helped me as Palestinian to accept and to see Judaism different. And I always keep telling that we need to understand what's different between Judaism and Zionism. We always used to say that occupation has nothing to do with Judaism, and being against occupation has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. So if anyone against occupation will be anti-Semite, the whole world will be anti-Semite. We need to take responsibility and to see that we are killing and massacring and doing the biggest massacres in the Middle East seen ever, killing men and women, burning people alive, schools, teachers, journalists, everything moving. And we are triggered by people putting the picture of Sinwar. Always you can see people see the others as they say, Gandhi said, your terrorist is our freedom fighter. That's in history. Nelson Mandela was a terrorist according to the Americans until 1997 because he was fighting for his rights. He wasn't fighting with the flowers. He is responsible of the armed group in the South African resistance. So now, if we want to make change, we gotta stop the opportunities that gonna find people like Yahya Sinwar and any other fighter. Because we can't keep people under incubation and discrimination and kill them every day they raise their voice, and in the end, we say they don't accept us and they support resistance and violence. You facing them with violence every single day. There are children dying every single day. I want you and everyone else, when you go to these places, not to see the picture of Sinwar only, to see behind the picture. Don't fight for Sinwar. You as a human being, as a Jewish, you are not fighting for Sinwar, you are not fighting for Palestinians. You are fighting for your humanity. Children are slaughtered. In this time, we are in 2024. I feel sometimes we are in 16th century, and the world is silent. So, ignoring all this picture and look at small picture of putting this or that, it's a big problem. If I will do the same like this, I will never see partner on the Israeli side. They still occupying me. They still controlling my city. Not only picture. There is official gates controlling my children, my life every single day, and I choose to see beyond. And as someone said, if you feel your pain, you are alive. But when you feel other people's pain, you are a human. And all what we need is just to choose to be human.
I think there was a question at the back over there.
It's the deal. Enjoy. Thank you.
You said that you wrote Free Palestine, right, on the wall, and it made you feel something like. I just wanted to know how impactful art could be for even just doing street art and from both sides, because I've been in town to Tel Aviv and there's like plenty of street art. So I just wanted to know about your thoughts on how impactful that could be and what messages that could send to the world and to other people that are knowing about this or are hearing about it, you know.
I think art is a very creative, efficient, non-violent way to resist. We can use it and inspire others. I have many Israeli and Palestinian artists would use art as a resistance, and it's very common in the land actually. And for me, this is also art, like storytelling is art. And you have many, many ways to basically express what you feel, what you believe in a way that is somehow trying to show something that is bigger. And yeah, we need support. Like again, instead of we have so much power, right? We can choose where to send the money. So you can send the money to weapons, or you can send the money to artists, right? It's as simple as that. And one more thing about Yahya Sinwar. So I think that first of all, like Osama mentioned, there is power dynamics here. There is a reaction to the occupation. People are trying to liberate themselves from this oppressive system. And at the same time, we have so many people who are traumatized on both sides. And for many Israelis, Yahya Sinwar is the most cruel killer, serious murderer who planned this attack. And they see him as a war criminal, which he is. I believe he's a war criminal because, like, kids are being kidnapped from their homes, babies. This shouldn't happen. But if we will keep ignoring the context of this attack, we will be lost, actually. The context is 76 years of military occupation, of people who live without human rights, and they fight for their liberation. Now you have victims on both sides. and we fight over victimhood. Who is more victim than the other? I'm not willing to speak to terrorists because they killed my family. I'm not willing to speak to soldiers, they killed my family. This way, it's this vicious cycle, right? Violence, revenge, victimhood, revenge. We have to take responsibility. But who can take responsibility today? Can someone in Gaza take responsibility? There is something left in Gaza? No. I cannot tell the Gazans to take responsibility now because there is no Gaza, right? So the people who are in power can actually take the responsibility and change the system because we are those who control what is happening. So for me, like what is needed now, we need brave people to stop victimizing themselves, especially on the Israeli side, because again, we have the power, and to start to build the future for this place. Future where everyone is free, equal, and safe, inshallah, soon. And this is the only way to guarantee safety for the Israelis. No freedom and equality, we will not be safe, because people will fight for their liberation, and some will choose violence. This is nature of human beings. I don't justify violence. I'm not here to say violence is my way. I'm saying this is a natural reaction to oppression. Always you will have some people who choose violence, and it's not their fault. We are not dehumanizing them for choosing violence. We are actually trying to change the system so they stop resisting violently, but not the vice versa, because this is like just not logic. Well,
Thank you very much.
makes sense.
Okay. So, I'd like, I think we probably only have time for 2 more quick questions with brief answers. So, I saw a lady in the middle put up her hand. That yes, you. Over here.
Oh, over here.
Yeah. And then you could have the last question. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, and I really appreciate university sponsoring this event. I find your stories, personal stories, very powerful. And my question is, for someone who stands for humanity and Palestinian liberation, but is neither Jewish nor Palestinian nor even American citizen who could be voting for something or, risking arrest for civilians. Meanwhile, my taxes are going to deadly weapons. And I feel like
Can you ask a
Talking.
question, please?
yes, talking is the only thing I have left, but I also feel like it's not as powerful as it could be, because a Jewish person could say to me, who are you to be talking about this situation? How would you say we could fight for Palestinian liberation and our collective liberation in that situation? Thank you.
Look, the soil. As a man,
So, first, I'm not here to tell you that I have a busy time with my kids, with transforming Israelis. It's very challenging, but I feel like it's my responsibility and it's my role in this journey, and I'm not willing to give up on my people. And like I was transformed and I was changed, I believe people with place to transform and change, and this system can be transformed and changed, and it will happen in our lifetime. I think what you can do is to say exactly what you just said, but very clearly from the beginning. I am fighting for your collective liberation because I know that all of you are victims of this system, Israelis and Palestinians, and the only way to guarantee safety for the Israelis is by liberating the Palestinians. And I care for you the same as I care for them, and it's about humanity, not about pro-Palestine or pro-Israel. We are here trying to save humanity from this self-destructive system. And some of them will not be able to hear it, some yes, and you have to keep believing in what I just said and to show them love. And I believe with love things with soft kinds of stories from. Yeah.
Thank you. And last questions.
It's for the both of you. I want to thank you for being here and sharing all of these sentiments and history and what brought you there. It's two-part question. The first one, as a Palestinian, how do you translate the pain that you feel when you hear of the events that are taking place? Also, you said you fell apart, and we're on the campus ground, and you honored the protesters for their protest, and we all do, for their courageous actions. However, how do you, as a Palestinian, convince those who are being activists in your name and in the name of humanity, in our name, all those who have believed in social justice under a democratic system or human rights, if you would like to call that? What would you tell the students of how to find a path to find a partner, so that it's not just one group calling for justice for one group, but it's one group bringing together advocates for humanity? How would you tell these students that are standing in protest and they don't think that there's a partner on the other side? That's one. And then I was
You have to give
it's okay. You won't color.
Thank you.
I just feel like I want to answer a few things together. Search the writing, graffiti, and the art, and then about as students. I feel sometimes a little bit we Palestinians don't have the choice. If we do fight like Sinwar, we are terrorists and the whole world refuse us, and your name is like the worst name ever. And if we decide to write graffiti, we're gonna be anti-Semite. So if you fight the occupation violently, you are terrorist. And if you fight the occupation non-violently, you are anti-Semite. And you don't have no right to fight. And we are blaming each other for fighting non-violently, and for you, we are a little bit depressed and angry at the students because they have put the picture of Sinwar, while the biggest democracy in the world welcomed the biggest war criminal ever, standing 50 hours, 50 minutes, cheering for him with the pictures of death of children and hospitals and everyone, and we don't see that. We don't see the biggest democracies are acting this way of hypocrisy, and we blame the students for doing the same thing. All what I'm saying to the students, and this is your answer, I'm not asking anyone to fight for me. I'm saying to the Israeli, to the Jewish, to any student who's living here, you are fighting first of all for your humanity, not for me. And when you, as a Jewish, stand over there, you are not standing against Israel, you are not standing against the Jewish people, you are standing to protect, actually, the future of the Jewish people in the Middle East. Because this system is showing the Jewish people as evil and showing them as a danger in the Middle East, and they will risk them. They don't care about the Jews, they care about the power, and they are risking them, and we are here to tell you, we, Rotem and I, are fighting for everyone. And that's what we are asking the students to fight for everyone, to fight for humanity. And the last thing I want to say to the students, the only word, connection before correction.
Thank you. Now, I think a lot of students have to make their way to other classes, so please forgive me. if I end on that powerful note from you, which I think also aligns very well with what Rotem said to the previous questioner about freedom and justice and safety all going hand in hand, I want to really thank both of you for this powerful message, this conversation about partnership, reconciliation, and about relationships that can be created even in the most difficult and challenging circumstances. So thank you all for coming here. Thank you both for really illuminating us about what is possible. Thank you.
Let's go to
And the last message I want to say to everyone, all the people who demonstrate, everyone against what's going on, I have one slogan for you to put in the campuses, not the pictures of any human being, not a picture of this leader or that leader, because all these leaders are leading us to them. Yeah, and the only way is to unite. So the only slogan we have to carry all of you from the river to the sea. Everyone should be safe and equal and free. Thank you.